Hello everybody, my name is Deku, and welcome to the 1,000 subscriber Q&A celebration. Welcome to the 1,000 subscriber Q&A special. I'm going to be answering all of the questions that you guys have asked me because a lot of them were very good, and I really did enjoy a lot of them. You're going to probably see in this video, I'm going to be cutting around a lot. You'll be seeing some stuff in the background. You'll also be seeing some other stuff because I really want to put some more effort into this video before it gets uploaded on Monday, which is about 2 days from now. So, that also means that I'll be cutting back and forth to different reels of me answering different questions. So yeah, let's get started. 707 707 has entered. Ask, what are your real degrees? In all caps. Actual question. Your leftist and anti-materialist analysis are awesome. Is there a moment where you can remember being particularly influential / inspirational / formative to you when it comes to your political worldviews? And what, if any, is your favorite book? I just read that out for the first time. That's awesome. That is an awesome question because I remember that they asked that, and that was it was just originally, what are your real degrees? And spoiler alert, should I break the iceberg now, or should I keep it going? Maybe I'll cut that out. But my actual places of education in terms of where my proper knowledge lies is in art studies, sociology, and applied physics fields and so on, such as things like standard physics. You can maybe say stuff like theoretical physics, or like quantum shit, or astrophysics, and political understanding, and then obviously I've also mentioned writing and art and analysis. Those have always been the things of study that I've always been drawn to the most. And regardless of what my real degrees are, because I think it's really funny that you guys will never know what my real degree is, and I'll just constantly say that, oh, that PhD really came in handy. I think that's funny, because it's better than me saying, yeah, I studied this in high school, or, oh, yeah, I studied it and read, like, the entire textbook through a PDF that I pirated, or, so on and so forth, right? Because whenever you say that you went to school for something, it allows people to believe you a lot more. So saying a little tiny bit of a lie makes the authenticity of my knowledge much more believable than me saying, oh, well, I just kind of studied, random physics and, like AP college level, science degrees on my own because I was an autistic ADHD freak in high school. So yeah, there's a lot of that. The second question is, and also I'm going to say thank you to my my leftist critique and anti-materialist stuff. I wouldn't say I'm anti-materialist. I would actually say I'm more pro-materialist than anything, because that's the biggest thing of leftist politics and leftist ideas and study, is the idea of material conditions around you. And if anything, Marxist, Leninist, and, or you just want to call them socialist or communist or leftist overall, to be a true, quote-unquote, right, and not just a baby leftist, there is still kind of attached to, like, liberal Democrat understandings of capital and other things like that. You have to understand that you do not need to be anti-materialist. You have to be anti and critique the current material conditions of which we exist within in that framework. So I would definitely say, also given the fact that I love stuff, I love having stuff, like my desk right now is cluttered with shit, right? Like I got, all sorts of shit. I got like manga pins, I got fucking pencils on all kinds of different like millimeters, and like figures up here, like Goku. I got Tanjiro, got fucking Gordon Freeman, Batman up here on my shit, right? And you can like see in my background, I have a ton of shit over there. Don't mind like the Febreze things, but like everything else you see back there that isn't like a tool, like the canister and the measuring tapes and the Febreze shit, all of that over there is like a bunch of like knickknacks and like trinkets that I have, and I just have them all over there on that's like my treasure pile, right? And like they all have stories, and I really like it. But yeah, that's what I would definitely say. I would definitely say I'm very much materialist. And is there a moment that I remember where I was particularly radicalized? Is what I think is the word you were kind of trying to go for there. It was honestly just growing up where I grew up with. For most of my life, the reason why I can understand 90s nostalgia and even 80s nostalgia was because I grew up, I wouldn't say below the poverty line, but it was definitely lower class. Not even middle class. It was definitely low class, house built in the 50s, only had like few residents, used to seeing the fucking shoes on the lines and stuff. And if you want to call that the ghetto, or if you want to call that the hood, or whatever the fuck, you can call it that. I've heard plenty of people who grew up where I live call it that, but it was much more calm than the more violent and other types of conditions of the more stereotypical, right? But you could definitely see where I grew up. There was a section there was the gentrified part of the neighborhood, which had a higher white population. And then there was the ungentrified, where there was a lot of black folk, there was a lot of Hispanics, and the like. And that was who I grew up around in high school. I grew up around, and I'm sure you can kind of tell by the slang that I use in like AAVE and the like. And it's one of those things where I always feel bad whenever I see like people talking about like white people use AAVE, and I'm like, dog, I'm sorry. This is just like how I grew up around. This is just how I talk. It's not like the most slang or Gen Z or whatever the fuck you want to call it kind of like language, but I just use the slang in the lexicon that I grew up around, right? And I think that was the biggest thing that radicalized me. I saw the inequality of those around me. I saw these people who had the idea of the American dream in their minds, and yet despite the fact that they would say all of these things about the greatness of possibly working on your own to become great and make yourself something, pull up yourself by your bootstraps, I could look around and see, yeah, but we're still in a fucking shitty home, right? We go maybe to the grocery store twice every month, right? The idea of debt and all this other shit, I grew up around. I heard about it a lot, and I think it might have been the autism and the ADHD to where part of it was ADHD being very combative and stubborn, that I was like, I just didn't accept as things were given to me, but also the autism made me very analytical, as opposed to like neurotypical people that wouldn't be as observational of their surroundings and the conditions around them, and instead of just saying like, oh well, it is what it is, you play the hands that you're dealt with. And I always thought, well, that's just bullshit, right? A funny story is I remember how I was radicalized to like LGBT rights, right? I remember I watched YouTubers. Here's a YouTuber. I don't know if any of you guys remember Cryotic, or Cry, the fucking, I guess, pedophile or whatever. One of the first big drama people. He was pansexual, and I remember before all the drama, and I was a fucking middle schooler. I heard about the idea of pansexuality, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I think I might be pansexual. I'm not. I'm bisexual. Because I just feel that label is the one that fits me the most. But that idea and seeing this person that I like just like even mention it, and then me going looking up what that was, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I would, there was a lot of transphobia back in the early 10s, right? Before it was even more rampant than it was today, because, you had the 4chan incels and chuds and all that other shit. And then you also had, like, the very vocal minority of people that were against just, like, the concept of the rising prevalence of transness on the internet within the late thousands and the early 10s. The unknowns, right? Like, oh, how many genders are there? And it's like the fucking unknowns from Pokemon, and people were like, oh, liberals are so R-worded, right? And I remember one of my friends that was more of a bully than anything showed me that, and I was like, why do you care? Why don't I think it's awesome that they can pick who they want to be. And that was like my gut reaction to it. I was like, well, who are we to say what they want to be? They're not hurting anybody. And then they were like, but they're kind of like weird and like aliens or whatever. Like they hurt themselves or whatever. I was like, okay, why don't we help them instead of making fun of them? And, that the conversation, I don't even remember how the rest of the conversation went, but it was something along those lines that fucking 13-year-old me had as an idea. But yeah, that's definitely the moments that radicalized me. And then as I grew up and I was mistreated myself by the system around me, because I worked within a gas station, and that gas station basically just abused me, used my labor, and I was never like compensated or properly represented with my labor. And before I even like kind of understood the ideas of like Marxism, I was like, yeah, this is fucked up. Why isn't it different? Right? I just knew that I was like, well, capitalism must be the blame for it, right? Because that was the only word that I knew when I was in my mid-teens and the like, because I hadn't been exposed to other systems outside of like the fucking memes of communism, which was always really interesting, because when I was always, now that I think about it, whenever I heard about the ideas of communism, even in school, I was like, I mean, hey, that sounds better than, the people that did slavery, right? But then you also hear all the propaganda and then everything around that. But the schooling that I had, they were never brief on it. They never let us chew on it enough to question anything or fully understand. There was yeah, communism, good in theory, bad in practice, and I was like, okay. You want to tell me more why it's good in theory and bad in practice? No? Okay. I guess I just have to kind of mull over that in my own head. In terms of what my favorite book is, I'm going to imagine that you mean from radical left books. I love Lenin. I mentioned this in the Deku is Left introduction video. I love Lenin's work. State and Revolution I think is just a fucking phenomenal piece of literature in the way that it just digests everything with what's wrong, and the way that you can, despite the fact it's almost 100 years old by this point, you can still look at it and read it and be like, wow, this took the ideas of Marx and then expanded upon them naturally to where it's almost stupid to think that this wasn't already an idea that was established by Marx and Engels before them. And then, I like Mao, and I know Mao is a very decisive figure, but I would definitely say go out and try and read what he has to say instead of just accepting what you read on Wikipedia or whatever. And I also definitely believe that the ideas of critiquing people, especially political leaders, is good, and not to, as the writer Mao himself said, do not book worship. Do not just follow blindly. You should be critical. You should be analytical of the conditions around you and not just accept things at face value. In terms of what my my non political books are, oh man, I'm looking to the side where my books are right now, and if we want to count it, I would want to definitely say I love One Piece. One Piece is like one of my favorite fucking things ever, right? But if we don't want to consider like comics and just basic books, man, that's kind of hard. I mean, I like the Warhammer books a lot. I think the Warhammer books are really interesting. I haven't read a lot of them, but from what I have read, I really liked. Terry Pratchett was also really good. I really liked the stuff that I read with him in like Death and shit. House of Leaves is also really good. It reminds me of basically just like a full book of like an SCP article, but not as an article, right? And I think that one's really cool. Let's see. I also really liked Percy Jackson when I was younger. I thought that one was always felt seen with having ADHD and shit, and having like all of the camp goers, you know, canonically having ADHD because of the way that their brains work and shit. I always thought that was really good. Yeah. Man, I'm trying to like think of other shit, right? Like, I've read a lot of stuff. I have the Witcher books over here, which I've yet to crack into, but I got for Christmas one year. And they've just been sitting on my shelf, and they make great stoppers for all the other shit from falling over. But yeah, those are definitely some of my favorite books. I also really like cyberpunk, if you couldn't tell from my older videos and from the kind of leftist politics that I talk about that are, you know, baked into the concept of cyberpunk as a critique of hypercapitalism and the like. Then that's definitely also there too. Neuromancer, from what I read of it, I really liked Neuromancer, and those other things that Gibson wrote. But yeah, thank you has entered, or 707 for your question. That was awesome. Let's move on. Zuline asks, or Nappy, as they are listed on the Patreon, thanks, asks, what they say, you're so cool. Thank you. What is your favorite genre of media? Man, it's probably anything to do with pirates or cyberpunk or political fantasy and other things like that. I just like the idea of really putting the ideas of our world and like maybe separating them like into a few different things, like maybe through a layer of like irony or a layer of detachment. Makes it a lot more digestible for a lot of people. And I apply that into the way that I make videos, because as you can tell just by Alien Stage and the shit in the comments that I make, like I'm still very political, but I'm not like actively up on a soapbox talking about my political theory and my material analysis on the conditions around us, right? And like actively quoting and like having what's it called? Citations. That's the word. Citations. To like, you know, political theory and the like, and like the page number I'm drawing from. Because I like making what I believe in digestible and not like overwhelming people. Even if I'm a very brash and abrasive and very blunt person overall in terms of like how loud I speak about it. That's definitely what I believe. I just thought about it. I'm probably gonna put the usernames for all of the questions in the chapters down below, so that people can find their specific question and hear me answer it. But I see what you mean now. Books, shows, etc. I like anime. I like animation. I think the idea of you being able to like fully be expressive through the distortion of our real world into another medium that allows for more emotion to be expressive than say through um, the more seriousness of being live action, right? Because like I think we've all wanted to playfully punch the shit out of our friends or like actively climb on them like a goblin, but if that were to happen in like live action, that would turn away like a huge majority of the audience because they're so used to serious media that like downplays the whimsy of human nature, right? Because at the end of the day, no matter how intellectual we are still a communal species. We are still a species that is that thrives on the idea of bond and community, and you being, you know, touchy with your friends and you know, playfully shaking them or, you know, slapping them around or whatever, like, should be in more media. You know, slapstick is one of the things that I believe should be in more shit, but it's not because people think that it's unrealistic, because if we want to get really deep into it, people are just more alienated now. They're more disconnected by the idea of having friends and are more privy to the ideas and concepts of what do you say, professionalism and like keeping things proper between each other. That I think that's just, it's that idea of social norm is taken away when it comes to animation, because you're able to do a lot more stuff. I also love reading. I love reading prose. I love reading good, well-described action to paint a picture in my mind. I'm very picky with what I read, because if the prose isn't dense enough to paint a proper picture in my mind, it just feels like you're putting words on a page without meaning. So yeah, definitely animation. I also prefer shows. I prefer it whenever I like cinematic shows, definitely. Taking the advents and themes that you would see condensed into like an hour 30, maybe 4 hours of a movie, but then spread out throughout 20 episodes or 8 episodes or the like in a miniseries or full season. I think that's the best of both worlds, because you get things like cinematography and the like, and like the technical aspects of cinema and the full story and lore abilities of television. So I really like shows. Also because I can put them on in the background and always feel like something new will come next. So yeah, thank you, Nappy or Zuline, Zuline. Ping1 VR asks, what's your favorite DBZ character? I could be really horny with my answer and say like Android 23 or Chilai or Kefla or like any number of the traditionally hot characters. But I think I'm going to have to go with my glorious King Goku. I just like Goku, man. Goku, like, I feel like whenever I watch him, there's a part of me in him, right? With the determination and just the want to fight shit, right? Just to kind of prove yourself, you know, conflict and testing your mettle against a challenge. I just feel is very exemplary of myself, even if we are very much not the same in terms of the like. I would definitely say if I were a DBZ character, I would be a mix. If Goku and Gohan were like, if Gohan was smart but was a lot more like his dad and not Gohan as we know him, right? I like a lot of DBZ characters. I like Vegeta. I love his story arc. I love the symbolism within it, especially within the manga. A lot of people don't think that there's a lot of story beats and themes in DBZ, but it's there, right? Even if it is the fast and furious, you know, big muscle men beating the shit out of each other of anime, I still really love it. So yeah, I actually have yet to watch all of the original anime or read all of the original manga. But I've played a lot of the games. I watched DBZA. I know, support the official release. Come on, man. But I have read bits and pieces from the Boo Saga and earlier and other things like that. And I do acknowledge the problematic parts of DBZ. But I think that that's one of the things that allows you to appreciate it more is how much it's grown over time. So yeah, thank you, Penguin1 VR. Ping1 VR. Stardust9664 asked, who's your favorite Alien Stage character / ship? It's Luca. Now, I say that because I wanted to see the reactions that everyone else has to say to that, but I do really like Luca because of how much of a piece of shit he is. But I love Till. I love Till and Mizzy. I think my favorite ship is probably the Doom Toxic Yaoi of Even Till. I love those fucking gay boys. Those guys. Oh, men after my own heart. Thank you, Stardust. Candy Siri asked, what do you think of Hyuna and Luca? Goddamn, they're so tragic. They're so fucking tragic, dude. They are... Oh my god, doomed hetero. That shit breaks my heart. Like, genuinely. That fucking sucks, man. That fucking sucks. I like a lot of the symbolism, and I liked a lot of the story. I don't want to go too in-depth into this, because obviously there's the entire fucking playlist of Alien Stage, of where I... Literally, like, 7+ hours of me dissecting all of this shit. So, yeah, there's definitely that. Brie Carla 556 asked, what did you major in college? So, I was originally I will not say, but I will say what I was going to potentially do, because there was a lot of different routes that I could have taken than the one that I did. And I'll tell you the three. At first, I was studying to major in physics, specifically things with space physics, astrophysics and the like, and was going to have AP physics and the like in my final years of high school. But because of the fact that, despite the fact I was literally recommended verbatim by the physics teacher, because one day I walked into my forensics class and I was like, why do you got physics equations and momentum shit up on the whiteboard? And he was like, oh, because I teach physics. And like, he looked at me with a how the fuck you know that? You are not in any of my classes, and I'm the only physics teacher here. I remember, because it's one of those things, like, where I like, skipped ahead in, like, learning, and I would learn about, like, really niche subjects. I remember one time I asked my chemistry teacher in summer school, when are we going to learn about quarks and gluons? And he was like, you're probably going to have to learn about that in your senior year, freshman. And I was like, fuck! So, yeah, that was what I was going to major in. I was also, I had the opportunity to potentially major in forensic studies and forensic science, and because I was very, very good at it. I was one of the star students, I would like to think, based on my grade and the way that my my forensics teacher always, chatted up with me, that I was very, very good at forensics and detective work. And that's primarily because I was a big fan of Batman when I was a kid, and I still am, even if he's a little bit liberal. But hey, better than being a fascist when written by Frank Miller. That was it. Fuck, Frank Miller. Yeah. Alan Moore was absolutely correct whenever he called out Frank Miller for being a fascist, because 100%. The corruption of which they did him, and I mean, yeah, I understand 100% that Batman is a part of the billionaire bourgeoisie class, which two of those words was tautology. The word that means saying the same thing twice but with a different word. Like Christian and pedophile. I'm sorry. Maybe I should say priest then. Okay, sorry. But yeah, like, you can do so many cool, like, left-leaning stories with comics. And, like, a lot of earlier comics were definitely left-leaning, but were more liberal than anything. And I acknowledge that. But it's better than being, fascist propaganda and, pro-military, all this other shit, and pro-capitalism that you see with a lot of other, that could possibly be done with, characters like fucking Captain America. But, they take the idea of Captain America, and even if the idea around him is very much a little too optimistic and idealistic of the idea of an American dream, there have been comics where he has talked about that he acknowledges that it's a lie and the crimes of America, but he still wishes to potentially fight for the idea of it out of spite and not out of optimism. And I like the idea of, you were lied to by a country to fight for their so-called values, but those values were a lie. So out of spite, you will wish to bring those values into existence. I just wish that he wasn't so tied down to an Americanism than anything, and took the ideas that were very, very basic and modern culture of, like, liberty, truth, and justice, and all this other stuff as a base value, and was more applicable to overall ideas. But yeah, what was the original question? Right. Forensic science. I just talked about Batman. Let's see. I also could have done journalism or photography, but that was a very, thing that I was thinking about when I was, like, a freshman, but never really, went to. But those are the possibilities, for what I could have majored in college. The rest is for you to find out. I could have just answered that with, wouldn't you like to know, Witherboy? Clee9604 asks, hi, would you be interested in more analytical show don't tell content? Absolutely. I'm a fan of One Piece. That shit is all about silhouettes and, never saying the full story until 500 fucking chapters later. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. I would 100% be into reacting to that stuff. Though I would 100% like to branch out more into doing other types of, like, watch-along reaction content instead of just pure analytical stuff, right? Because the best part about, reactions is, one, you can hear analytics and, like, analytical analysis of stuff, but you could also then just have somebody's, talking an actual reaction and thoughts on what is happening, right? With a video that you like, and then are rewatching along with them, right? It's kind of like sitting down with a friend or a coworker or so on. I know, parasocial, we are not friends, but this is a community. It is a community, and there is a connection there, even if it is not as platonically close as the idea of friendship. But yeah, I would 100% be down to doing more analytical show don't tell for more analytical videos, or more just kind of videos that lay it all flat and I don't have to do a lot of analysis, but I can give more of my thoughts on it, right? Maybe like video essays or the like. Because the main channel, as I've always talked about, is all about kind of like us, right? You and me, the audience, doing stuff together, right? So like in the idea of like watching along, or sharing a space and the like. So reactions is one of the few ways to kind of do that, because and gaming let's plays could also be that. But when it comes to gaming, that feels more of a passive role than anything, because you're kind of just more watching the reaction along with it. But whenever you're watching like a show together, you're actively thinking together. So yeah, and that's one of the other reasons of why like I wanted to do other maybe video essays that aren't reactions, or just like other projects that allow me to really yap at the screen and put a lot of effort into my shit, is because it allows for that same deeper connection without sacrificing a disconnect of you're just watching me read off a script, or you're just watching, graphics and really good editing on screen, like you would see with normal video essays. Because if I were to make a video essay and I have some planned, you would still see a lot of my own personality in it. You would still see a lot of thoughts and questions being asked that for you, the audience, to also then engage with. So yeah. Clee then asked, prediction videos can be Alien Stage, but anything in general. I love theories and predictions. Yeah, I would definitely think about it. I mean, maybe not like a series, but like maybe like 1 or 2 really well edited long form videos. Just have somebody, like sink their teeth into. I could definitely do. I would love to do. One of the more recent shows that I've been getting into that I did not do a reaction to because it was very, very long was Hunter the Parenting. Hunter the Parenting was very, very good, and I, as a person who is getting into the world of darkness, I think that making prediction videos on like chapter 6 or any of the audio logs that could be happening past chapter 5 would be very good. So yeah, I would, and theories, I mean, a lot more of my theories, if you want to see, like, actual, like, say, political theory, that would be over on the Deku is Left channel, because that is the channel where it is definitely more me yapping at the screen than, a back and forth possibility, because, man, live streams would be great for that, because the back and forth there. I've always planned on doing live streams, but I never really had, well, I didn't have the audience to, have constant interaction with. And I would never want to have people kind of feel left out because I ignored them because of how fast the chat is going. So, well, yeah, member-only chats would actually be really good for that. And member-only, which is a part of the memberships, is member-only streams where it's member-only chat on the sidebar for me to react to and talk to, and then member-only chat rooms for me to interact directly with you guys. So, yeah, that's that. Would you analyze the instrumental / vocals and entirety of the songs in general for the covers for Alien Stage? Some of them aren't that deep, like one of them has an extra instrument for some symbolism, but I still think the small details and how some songs change meaning depending on the singer is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I do plan on listening to the covers, because I've listened to some of the covers, and I really do like them. I like Sua's Ruler of My Heart, and the little detail of how she doesn't whistle in the very beginning of it, and how the entire idea of the theme of Ruler of My Heart is changed when you look at it from Sua's perspective. So, yeah. I will say one of my degrees was not musical analysis and music and the like, but I can understand the emotions and potential symbolism in lyrics and its sound rather than actual formation and technical work of music. They also then ask, would you be opposed to watching a certain clip / part of media without being properly introduced to it yet to have your initial thoughts on it? Example, watching a cutscene without playing the actual game, etc. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it would be, it might be a little weird because that'd be a very short video, right? It would definitely be a lot better to like go up on the Deku Talks channel, right? For like a streamer clip, where like I see it on stream, and then I clip it, and then my reaction to it, and then go post it over there, right? Instead of me just sitting down for 2 minutes and then watching it and then giving my thoughts and then posting it, right? I would much rather see it, give my thoughts, and then have people's live reactions to it to have that interaction there. But yeah, no, I would absolutely not be opposed to seeing a snippet of media, whether it be a show, anime, or anything like that, and then diving deeper into it. But I've seen a lot of clips, given the culture of short form content, of a lot of things. So there's a very high chance that I would say something like, "Oh, I've seen clips of this before. Let's see it. Let's see more of it." Right? So there is that. Woo! Fave song, color, show, I don't know, whatever you can think of. I'll answer all of those. My favorite song. Currently, I would have to say Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster. I love that song. I would also have to say Karma Police by Radiohead is also really good. And Right Trigger Warning by Mick Gordon from the hit game Wolfenstein The New Colossus. I really liked. But all three of those is just a wide variety. Oh, and also, I've been rewatching Vige all the time. And My Clementis, I still go back and re-listen to those. Those are so good. My favorite color? What, you couldn't tell? It's red. Red and black. I love red and black. I used to like green a lot, but not really my thing anymore. Purple is nice, and silver is really nice too. It's like the proletariat version of the bourgeoisie gold. Let's see, what else did you ask? Show. Well, my favorite show of all time would probably have to be The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead all throughout. I also like Lost. I love Lost. I like Breaking Bad a lot. Dexter has been growing on me a lot. Let's see, JoJo's is also really good. I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, I love. Oh man, Snowfall was also really good, especially with the way that it demonized the Contras in Nicaragua, because fuck those guys. So there was also that too. And it wasn't afraid to, it wouldn't shy away from like showing CIA-backed coup d'etats in Central America, which is a big part of history that a lot of people don't know about. So yeah, there is that too. And let's see, what else can I think of that I haven't already answered? How tall am I? I'm 6'1.5". When was I born? October 29th, 2001. My mother's maiden name. Almost got you. The last three of my socials. 69420. 666. There you go. Do you care about the ship placement for top/bottom? If so, what's your preferred in alien stage ships, etc.? Person A, person B. Person A is top, person B is bottom. I'm gay. I'm queer. You know what I mean whenever I say that. So I definitely like the expressions, and I'm a very sex open and sex positive person, so I don't shy away from those kinds of questions. And I think that that's a very valid idea and formation of dynamics of relationships when interpreting characters and how they interact with one another. So I'm absolutely okay with it. I would, in how I prefer to interpret who's who, I think Hyuna is a power bottom, 100%. And Hugh is a soft top, and Luca is a soft top, 100%, 100%. Let's see, Mizzy, that girl's a pillow princess, 100%. Y'all saw that sapphic art that Viv Ming posted, where they were like, it was just softcore porn of them like on top of each other. Yeah, 100%, 100% that would be one of the things that was that I could see there. And Sua would be more of a top, but like kind of like a quiet top than anything, kind of like a pleaser than anything. Tail's a brat, and Ivan is a you could say, because he chokes a lot, a hard dom, but like a quiet one. Let's see who else. I think that's it. So yeah, I think that's all good. And yes, I found you out through Alien Stage. No, I don't feel bad about it. I'm currently on an Alien Stage hyperfixation drive. But I think I'll stick around. Thank you. And no shame. Absolutely. If you came here for Alien Stage, that's completely fine. But the only problems that I have with that is whenever people only want to see that from me. But If that's what you want to watch from me, fine. But if that's the only thing you want to see from me, then no. I'm more multifaceted than that. And thank you for hopefully sticking around. No, I haven't watched V's yet. Reaction, I'm scared. Go watch it if you haven't by the time you see this clip. Okay, here we go. Here's the rest of the comments. Thank you all to those that gave me comments really late last night for the rest of this this really fucking crazy celebration. So let's get into it. Noisy Cat Stephanie asks, "Hi, I would like to ask, what sort of media do you enjoy? Is it usually anime, or do you watch TV, movies, play video games, etc.? Also, if I get a bonus question, what sort of reactions do you like watching? Some reactors watch genres they aren't familiar with, usually horror, while others watch series they'll know they'll be really into. I was wondering which you prefer to watch. Congrats on 1K. Cat emoji. Thank you, Steph." Now, I know that I've already answered this question previously, but I want to take a little bit more time to talk a little bit more about the kind of stuff that I like to watch, just to kind of like, get some information out there. Actually, if you're asking what kind of reactions I like to watch, I don't usually watch reactions. I don't watch reactors. I know that might be kind of strange to hear. That's kind of like hearing a Minecraft YouTuber say they don't watch Minecraft videos. But like, yeah, I don't watch reactors. Usually it's because, not to have an ego about it, they're not me, right? They don't talk about it to the links that I yap about things. They never pause and go into depth about things, right? So recently I've been getting into Hunter the Parenting, which, for those that you don't know, is a series that is made by Bruvu Alpha Basa, and Ogre Papaneg. Those are the words that I know of them, but you probably know them if you're a fan of 40K as the people that made text-to-speech. And they've been making a series based on the World of Darkness by White Wolf, and I really like World of Darkness. I've been getting into it within the latter parts. No, actually, I would say all of only this year, 2025, because I started watching LA by Night with Jason Carl, who is like the head marketing guy, but is also like actively wrote like a lot of lore and shit. So it really helps get a lot of the information digested to me through actual plays, and through watching all of the audio logs and all of the animated episodes of Hunter the Parenting, I've learned even more about this universe, kind of like how I was learning actively while I was watching text-to-speech, but even more so because it's not a parody. It is actively taking place at least in a version of the world and trying to be as lore accurate as possible. And obviously the idea of canon, right? It's like taking the concept of like Faerun from, or Night City in Cyberpunk, but then adding your own shit into it for your own campaign. And like Hunter the Parenting is one of those things that I would consider one of those things where I just headcanon as being canon, right? Because it just fits so well. It's kind of like how if you read certain fan fictions, and if they're written well enough, or if you see like a fan project, you're like, okay, this is done well enough, I can consider this soft canon. Like, even if it'll never be officially licensed, you might see official canon maybe like give a wink and nudge to it, right? Like with the Astartes, or so on with 40K. Anyway, I say all of this to say is that I went and tried to watch a reaction to it, and many reactions to it, and everyone just sat there watching it. They didn't stop to talk about the reveals. They didn't stop to talk about, the sheer fucking strength of Big D, or, the crazy fucking animation going on, or the nuanced storytelling and the details in the animation and the like. And that was really disappointing to me. And that's what you get with mini reactors, right? Because, let's be honest, the concept of reactions is inherently because of the culture that has built around itself within, early 2010s, up through like, the adpocalypse and other things like that of making easy content, reactions is essentially slop, right? That's because it's so easy to make. You can sit down, give mild reactions, and people will watch you. As long as you're able to maybe buy views or, have money from your normal day job, to like buy a decent camera and, maybe hire an editor, you can like start, hustle culturing this shit out and just grind and put out mediocre shit. And 90% of reactions are mediocre shit. Now, that's not to say that your favorite reactor is mediocre. I mean, that's my opinion if I don't know them, and if I think so, that's my opinion. But I say this as in the reaction videos you don't see, or the reaction videos that most people don't follow behind, that never get watched, right? It just does nothing but fill the air in a vain attempt of trying to get onto the bandwagon without actually wanting to go into the process of creativity and having it be an outlet for yourself. It is only an idea of money and fame for these people. But then you will see other reactions, like the big reactors. You can look at like any of the fucking Twitch streamers out there. Not like 90% of those that you probably watch, if you watch a lot of reactions, you can look to them. Let's take, for example, XQC, or I don't know, fucking what's the guy who had cockroaches in his room? God, I got comments back because I used to make videos because he was like had so much drama that I would make videos on him. And people were like, "Oh my god, you're so obsessed with him." And I'm like, "Dog, I don't even remember his fucking name now." Aspen Gold. That was it. Fuck yeah, Aspen Gold. Yeah, he doesn't really say shit. He might be like, "Yeah, that's cool," keep playing the video, and that's like it. But here I am watching really well-made projects and videos and putting just as much thought into my thoughts and my ideas and my opinions on what I am watching as the person who made it. Because I think that's one, not only a respectful thing to do, instead of just getting a dozen times more views, but I have my face cams up in the corner, right? But like actually putting effort into it, like the person that was making it. Anyway, I don't usually watch reactors. Anyway, the genres that I'm interested in, you mentioned horror. I'm very familiar with horror. I believe horror to be one of, if not the quintessential genre of media that is able to tell a story about everything, right? And if you look at it from a literary standpoint and like analyzing what it talks about, you can use the concept of horror to tell any message because of the contemporary messages of our own real world, of the idea of failure, the scariness of putting yourself out there and the like, and then twisting those and then interpreting them into a horror piece of media, right? So I love horror. I also think things like action or thriller or drama, like those are also the quintessential things that allow you to really connect with the human condition and human experience, because they are so fundamentally tied to the concept of humanity and its emotions through the theming in those genres, right? Because those are always where you see the serious stuff, right? Like actually asking you deep, hard-hitting questions, as opposed to something that is just, not really put together and it's just something to waste time and, eat popcorn to, which is fine. I mean, I love John Wick. But John Wick isn't the most deep of things. Even if it has lore, it's not the most deep of things in terms of themes. Or like, I don't know, fucking Fast and Furious, or, you know, name a Marvel slot movie, right? Sure, you can go watch it and, you know, stuff your face with popcorn, but I prefer the things that I can really sink my teeth into, think while I'm watching it, and then have it on my mind afterwards. And the reason why is that's usually why, as I've said before, I like watching more cinematic TV shows. They can kind of that balances really well lighthearted, introspective moments that can be kind of funny, or even, you know, not as serious. Because think about it in the real world, right? Like, I remember a story of these soldiers who were in war, and they had just gotten done with an attack, and the only thing that they could do afterwards, after the shock had, you know, left them, was shoot the shit, right? That was their only way of coping. That was their only way of feeling normal, and, you know, feeling this dead air, so to say. So when I see serious, like, dramas that aren't able to balance that out well, I can't really take it as serious as it's wanting me to be, because it doesn't have moments of slapstick or moments of funny or brevity or so on like life does. As somebody who has had a lot of bad experiences with depressive, you know, ideations and other things along those lines, with mental illness, I can tell you firsthand that no matter how horrid the world around you seems, even if just your mind being in your own head of how horrible those bad days are, you can still laugh. You can still have moments where you smile. And for media to not acknowledge that, I feel like it tries too hard. Anyway, yeah. I like both of those. I like both of those things. I play a lot of video games. I don't play as much as I would like to, because usually I can't afford a lot of games, and pirate websites take forever. Let's see, what else? Most games aren't really that good. Again, because it's kind of just slop. Or they take up a lot of space, and as somebody that records a lot and hasn't upgraded their hard drive yet, God, you know, material conditions, right? Material conditions. So yeah, that's one of those other things. I also like reading. I really like anime. I will take almost any anime recommendations, and I will put it up on my second monitor. And it's one of those reasons why, if you follow me over at the other Deku channels, that you'll probably see me talk more about, like, my favorite things. Like, when I finish Daredevil Born Again, I'll talk about it over there, or like my reviews for each of the episodes and the like. That will be over there. But yeah, thank you, Stephanie, so much for the question. Kimara Sikima asks, something you like, game, hobby, or anything like. I think I've already answered that, but because you mentioned hobby, I think I'll go into the kind of titular industry of the idea of hobby. I love Magic. Magic the Gathering. I love Magic the Gathering, and I've been trying to find good games that don't have like moxes or infinites in them on Spell Table, which, if you are active on Spell Table, you've probably fucking seen me on there. Some people, I've even told some people about the channel on there because they asked where my name is from, and I was like, oh, it's my YouTube channel, all that little stuff. Because usually, I don't like to like hide who I am on the internet. I just say it, right? I'll be like, yeah, this is me. That's me over there. Like, you see DekuGames on like, oh, I don't know, Twitter. Yeah, that's me. Like, oh, you see that on like in a random game. Yeah, that's probably me. obviously use critical analysis of being like, you see somebody with DekuGames or Deku in their thing and they say that they're a YouTuber and then they go say the R word or the N word. That's definitely not me. um but yeah, like I just like being upfront about it. So whenever I make, other accounts and the likes, and I just have it out there, yeah, that one's me. So if you ever go and try and find me on like Tumblr or whatever, you could probably find me out there, or on Twitter, or on Blue Sky, or any other social platforms. I just use the same fucking name. Oh yeah, hobby, magic. I like tabletops, but I don't have anyone to play with. So I usually just print out character sheets and fill them out, like, repeatedly. Um, I like reading the books. Like I said, I've been getting into World of Darkness. My favorite tabletop of all time is Cyberpunk. I probably know more about Cyberpunk than 90% of its fans because I, like, autistic hyperfixated on it for like 2 years and kept reading the books over and over and over. I could probably teach you how to play the game and how to do Friday Night Firefight. Though I'm not the most up to date with that one. So yeah, I know I like a lot of things. I like action figures. I like drawing. I like manga. I like art. Let's see what else. I like anything like creative, right? As you can kind of tell from everything that I've kind of talked about, I've tried doing a lot of different creative outlets. When I was younger, I used to do stop motion with action figures. I would then do like sculpting with clay. I would, quintessential autistic shit, right? Collecting minerals and in crystals. That was also a big thing. I don't believe in crystals of, like, supernaturally. I just think they look cool. Uh, but yeah, those are the things I like. Thank you. Remedy, Remedy, ask, what inspired you to make your first YouTube video? For me, it was the pandemic in the early 2020s. If I couldn't get a book published on time, I figured making an autobiographical video to leave behind in case I don't make it out of the pandemic. That's really sad. Not as in, like, pathetic, but, like, as in, that's, I feel you, right? I definitely feel you, because that time was hard for me personally as well, of, feeling like we wouldn't make it past it and the like. And I was young, and, the idea of defeatism, really was implanted into my mind, by myself and my mental illnesses, right? But what inspired me to make my first YouTube video? I might as well get heavy with this because it was asked, and this is the 1,000 subscribers. And again, I want to be as open with this as possible. In 2022, I had an attempt. And if you know what that means, you know what that means. And it felt like everything in my life was falling apart. And genuinely, it felt like everything was falling apart. I had tried to make YouTube during that time, but everything just wasn't working. I was losing a lot of friends around me. I was losing people close to me. I was having trauma from my past come back up. Tensions from where I lived was getting worse and worse. And I couldn't take it anymore. Mind you, I was 19 at the time. I'm 23 now. And that happened. After that, I felt this change in me where I wanted to stop masking, where I wanted to stop trying to be a person that I wasn't, trying to be somebody that I knew that I wouldn't be. And so I've tossed aside the mask. I just, tossed it away. And I decided that I would be as unabashedly myself, the person that I was in private, the person that only my closest friends saw, for everyone. And over the course of 2022, as late 2022, mid to late, that continued. And then in 2023, I had made the decision to finally say, fuck it. The world is going to shit. I don't have a job. I don't have, people close to me to lose anymore. Not to say that I didn't have friends, because I definitely did have a lot of friends, but because of the fact that I was going through like a lot of bad relationships with partners and other things like that, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, fuck it. The world is fucked up, and I don't want to put myself through corporate grind and kill myself again, and then want to do that again, want to try. So I said, let's do YouTube. My one dream that I had always wanted to do, and that was put myself out there. And so on March 23rd or 24th, I forget exactly what day it was, on 2023, after having already been trying to do smaller vids, I deleted everything. I deleted everything off my channel, and I made the Half-Life VR game, Half-Life VR video, because I thought that I should have my first video be something that I love. And I love VR, and I love Half-Life. So I did that. And that's what I did. That was the first one. That's why you hear in the very beginning I say I'm back, despite the fact that's technically my first video. Because everything past that had been these scattered attempts at Let's Play, scattered attempts of reactions, scattered attempts of doing everything, going months on end without trying to do anything. And in March of 2023, I said, fuck it. We're doing it, and I'm going to do it daily. And that's what I did. I worked my ass off. I did so much, and I felt so much defeat. I felt like there are moments where I should have just given up, but I didn't. There were moments where I would look at the low view counts, the lack of comments, the lack of engagement, the amount I was putting myself out there, and I was like, maybe this just isn't for me. And I shook myself and I said, fuck it, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm either going to succeed or I'm going to fucking die. And that was the ultimatum I gave myself. And now, don't take that literally. It was one of those things where if I either succeed, I shoot for the stars and I make it, or I burn out, and I just can't do it anymore, right? That was the ultimatum I gave myself. So I did it. I consistently did it. And I would beat myself up on days where I didn't make daily videos, because I knew the grind I needed to do, because I knew that I needed both an audience, and I wanted to put my messages out there to people, and I wanted to be heard. I wanted to scream into the void and have people say something back of, I hear you. So I kept going. I would literally spend hours hunched into a fucking wooden chair on dinner tables that held up my PC and my two monitors at the time, editing away, trying to make as best of the videos I could before the pain got to me and I had to stop. I would literally go so far as to continue pushing past that pain to where I would sit on the floor being in even more pain and continue editing because I needed to get the video out the next day, even if it meant only having 10, 20 views. I wanted to be consistent. I wanted to continue doing it because I knew that if I stopped, if I didn't keep momentum, it would have been all for nothing. So that was the story of the early days. And then I had a few breakout successes, some with FNAF, some with other reactions, some with, funny videos I made, or, like the 2-hour mewing session thing, right? But then the big breakout for the channel has obviously been Alien Stage, and I cannot be more grateful for that because it feels so natural to me. I never wanted people to come to my videos because of the content that I made, the things that I offered. I wanted people to come to my shit for me, my personality. I wanted to be the Jacksepticeye. I wanted to be the Markiplier, the Corey, right? You go to those places not because of what they do, but because of them. And that is what I wanted to do. And the fact that my deep, very opinionated, and very political analysis of this gay-ass show that I love so much launched me from having barely 500 subscribers to over 1,000 in under a month, and have people still continuously come to me and literally allow me to begin taking the proper steps forward of my one dream, my one goal that I've ever had, and that is to be free, to do what I want, and to help people along the way. That was what I wanted. That is what I've always wanted, and it is you out there who has helped me succeed in that. I want to get big. I want to become the biggest. I want to become the most free. I want to become the king of YouTube. Because I think that if I do, I will be able to make the most difference in the world I can. I will be able to leave something behind, not only to say that I was here, but also to say that I leave a legacy of people that I helped as well, and can continue to use that influence, that fame, and that freedom that I have to give you that freedom as well, even if it's something small. Freedom from trauma, freedom from depression, freedom from your grind, your daily shit that you experience, or literally giving you freedom in the way of me pushing political messages of liberation and revolution and the like, and telling you that you don't have to take the world as it is. You are able to fight back. You are able to stand up for yourself. Then, if I'm able to do that, I have succeeded. And it is not just because of me, it is because of you as well. So thank you. God damn. Oh my god, I did not think I was going to cry during this, but that's usually how these go. That's usually how these go. It's like I don't think that I'm going to cry, but here I am. And I can guarantee that as we grow and grow, I'm gonna keep crying, right? Because it's one of those things that I know that I'll end up becoming more detached from other people, because your comments will get lost in the sea of comments and views and the like. But I want you to know that right now we're at 1,000, just over 1,000. Whether it's 2,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, 2 million, 10 million, 25 million, 50 million, 100 million, I see you. I will always see you. To me, you out there are not a number. You are not a statistic. You are not a part of a amorphous hive mind that is just a mass of a population. You are your own person, and I see you. And it is because of you, and you, along with everybody else, that makes the mass of the community, that we are able to succeed, and I am able to succeed. And I thank you for that. No matter who it is, no matter what it is out there, even if it's a hate comment, I still probably see it, but fuck you, whatever. I don't give a shit. I know how to discern emotion. I will always be thankful to each and every one of you, because it is the individual that makes the collective, and it is then the collective that pushes everything. And that's on Marx, bitch. But yeah, thank you. Thank you all so much for 1,000. Seriously. Here's the 2,000 and beyond. At the current rate we're going of about 500 per month, we'll be at 2,000 and maybe under a month, maybe over a month. So thank you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you want to support me, I have a Patreon down below. I have a few goals. Make sure to check the community post. I try and engage with you guys as much as possible. And be as transparent with where my money is going. Camera, games, computer shit, flashlights, comic books, action figures. And absolutely, actually, though, money that I get is 100% going to donations and charity for Palestine, by the way. If there is a cause out there, whether it be a socialist cause, whether it be an individual, a family in need, or anything like that, or even just buying supplies to then pass out around my own community, and maybe care packages or the like, or helping homeless people that I see around my place, that's also where your money is going to be going. So yeah, that's one of the other things. So yeah, thank you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Should be up. Should be Milgram or Royal Scandal. That should be up probably Tuesday. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you to my members and patrons: Nappy, Sleepy Sheepy, Lola Bartazal, Emanali, Bell, and Finch R. If you wish to support me and hear your name and see it at the end of every video, you can do so by becoming a patron or member through the links in the description down below. But then again, you've already heard the outro of this video. Thank you.